Hi, Scott Wonder here from Wonderwoods. Welcome to another Wonderwoods video. I'm going to show you how I tackled installing live edge floating shelves into a corner. Now when I started with this, when I was asked to do this, I've done floating shelves before, but I've never tried to do them with a live edge in a corner, and I spent a while trying to figure out how to do this. So this is what I came up with, and I'm going to show you in the video how I installed them as well. On this side, right hand side in this case, I put 2 rods into the studs and hung this shelf just like I would a mantle or something like that. I got other videos that show you how to install a live edge mantle, very similar. 2 rods, drill it in there, slide that onto the wall. That's the easy part, that's not any problem. The trick is to do the second shelf, the other half, and get that in, because with a live edge, you can't just put it on there and slide it in. It doesn't work that way. So what I came up with was to put 1 rod here and to cut a very fun joint right here. So when we go to install this shelf, put it up at an angle a little bit like this, slide it on, and then drop it down into place. Then this shelf, your first shelf, works as a support right here at the joint for this shelf. Now we cut this joint right here on the CNC, mostly because we have one, it's fun, it's easy. But you could also cut it on, or with a router by hand, chisel, stuff like that. Pretty straightforward. It's not too hard, it's a little bit tricky, it's a little bit challenging, but you can totally do it with some basic hand tools and make that joint happen. Now what we did here, I'll show you the detail in a little bit. This, you could make this miter go all the way back, or you can do it like I did, which it miters to the live edge and then it goes straight back from there. And what that did was that saved me about 10 inches of length. I only had a certain length on these slabs, and I needed to save that 10 inches so I could fit in this corner and be able to get the job done. If I needed to try to do a full miter all the way to the corner, I would have been just a little bit short on the wood. So this joint right here, which you'll see in the video a little bit later, actually helped me save basically the depth of this one shelf, because I didn't have to have the miter go all the way to the back. So anyways, I'm going to show you how I did it. I'm going to start by showing you the other corner because it's more wide open, a little bit easier to see, so you can tell how I did it, and then you can see the final result. With these drawings here in SketchUp, I wanted to show you kind of what I was thinking and how I went about it for us to design it and draw it on the computer to then cut it on the CNC. So here's the first one. That was an option, would be to cut it on a miter all the way back from the front corner to the back corner. I chose not to do that on this one because we had a certain length of slabs, and on the longer shelves they weren't going to make it that far. So if I do this corner where I nip it off a little bit on one side, the slab on the left is actually a little bit shorter, so that ended up saving me about 9 inches on the length. So that's one I went with to make these fit together. Now you can see how there's a little ledge on the back side. The front where the miter's cut is straight up and down, and then there's a little ledge where the left piece rocks and falls onto it. The depth of that miter is dealer's choice, really. If you had 2 slabs where the sapwood was the same depth, you might cut that angle back just to the edge of the sapwood. On one of the particular shelves that I used, they didn't have the same depth, so I kind of had to just pick a spot. Anyways, when they go on, the slab on the right, in this case, just slides right on. 2 posts, no more. And then the left one just has a single post, slides on there at an angle, and then drops down and sits on that ledge. Easy as that. To drill the holes in the studs, I use a Sheppard bracket bushing. It comes with a Sheppard bracket kit. We happen to have some of those bushings laying around,
And if I can, I go ahead and mount those to the wall just to help me line up when I'm drilling with the hammer drill there to get into the studs. It isn't required, but it kind of helps out. Then I cut the posts to length with a jigsaw and a metal cutting blade.
We got all these holes drilled, and you can see they're a little loose. I'll call that adjustable. So all I gotta do is put my level on there, get it straight, jam some shims in, be perfect. Everything's a little bit movable right now, and that's good because sometimes when you're gonna put the shelves up, they don't fit perfect. I'm just splitting up some shims so I can jam them in there.
While I worked on my corner installing the rods, Mike worked on his corner installing the rods. I made him do the harder corner, even though they were kind of the same. He first, since he had the harder corner, had to get the length right on his shelves. So he could use the rod on the left as a support, make sure it fit before we drilled holes. And you can tell by the look on his face that it did fit, so he was happy with that. Then we worked on drilling the holes together and get that taken care of. We used the same bushing that we used drilled on the walls with the Sheppard bracket bushing to drill the back of the shelves. It just helps kind of guide things. You can do it without it, but you gotta work a little slower and be more bit careful. And then here we are dropping the shelf in.
Woo! So this is the final result of the corner shelves. Now this set was a little bit easier because they're open on the ends. Don't have to be as delicate on the fit. All you gotta do is get the joints come together good here, and then these, just a nice straight cut off the wall. So that's a lot easier. It's a little bit more daunting in the other corner where you not only had to get this joint right, but then obviously cut everything to the right length. Thanks for joining me on this one, installing these corner shelves. Feel free to post in the comments if you got any questions. I'd be glad to answer them. Glad to help you out. I know this is tricky. This was a tricky one for me. I'm sure you're probably facing some other issues like this you probably need some help with. I'd be glad to help out as much as possible. And if you get a chance, please be sure to hit the subscribe button below. The subscribers going up helps me makes me feel better about what I'm doing. Makes me feel worthwhile. I'd appreciate that. So thank you, and until the next video, see you guys.